Welcome to the Dating Unsettled show where we dare to date differently. This episode is called Hopeless Romantic Society. Stand up! Yes! Yes! Stand up! Stand up! Where are all my hopeless romantics? My romantics with no hope. We have as our very special guest today,
Jahad Carter or JC.
Hi, Jahad or JC. We like Jahad. We like JC. You've seen this face because Jahad has been in these streets, on the streets. I don't even, in domicile. You might find him indoors possibly lately.
Period.
Who knows? He cannot be tamed. He cannot be claimed. He cannot be shamed. But Jahad has been interviewing people on Instagram, Hopeless Romantic Society. If you haven't already seen it, please check it out. DM-worthy content, laughable, cringe-worthy, unsettling content. So I absolutely knew that we had to have you on the show, and I appreciate that you're here. How are you feeling about doing this podcast, first of all, just being on the show in general?
I love being on here. I mean, a little jingle. It was jingling.
I know that.
Dating Unsettled.
Period.
Talk to me.
I know. All right.
I love it. I mean, in the shower too. Dating. I just wanted to get stuck in people's heads. But in this episode, I really want to talk about being a hopeless romantic. And I think that romanticism, there's a way that our community, especially, not to get political in the first 3 minutes, but the Black community like shames other Black daters around their romanticism, right? Mm-hmm. If you go too far, you're down bad or you're a simp, right? We even have gendered terms for how we shame. Oh, and a munch. How we shame other people around being romantic. I think it's ugly. I think it's reductive. I think it's just mean. And sometimes you are down bad, as we could see from some of your recent interviews. I love hearing about people who catch flights, but it's like, you ever caught an Amtrak a little, what was the Greyhound? Catch a Greyhound bus for somebody?
No, I had spoke with someone who had caught a megabus.
That was it.
I didn't even know they still do those.
Yeah.
And to go meet someone in the city. But I mean, period.
Megabus is a real, you can get a megabus $30 from LA to the Bay. So anybody trying to start at LA.
Miami.
I don't know if I would go that far, right? But this is about celebrating that romance. And I think for all the romantics listening, we just, want to open up this space for you. So I want to start with you, Jahad, JC, the Jayist. What is it like to be a hopeless romantic in 2022?
Girl, it is nauseating. However, it's fun sometimes. I don't know. You ever just when you listen to a sad song, you want to actually feel something?
Yes, like Lana. You'd be like, "Trying tonight." She does it for me.
Right.
All that grace, all that body.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like as a baby gay,
gay.
Right. I came out when I was 20. I'm 24. So I'm a toddler gay. I'm still learning. I'm still in high school dating life. You see what I'm saying?
You're at the beginning because you came out about 4 years ago. Okay, right. I see. So there hasn't been for you a long-term public gay relationship yet.
That, and also I just never had my Aaron Jones. I love him so much. He never notices me across the room. I never had one of those. You see what I'm saying? A high school, annoyingly down bad, crying, emotional.
Right. Doodling in your diary till your mom busts into your room asking what you're doing doodling in your diary, and you're drawing hearts. She pulls you out by your ear and says you shouldn't have crushes. This is Bible camp. You should be focusing on the love of God. Not that that's personal.
I was praying about him though, so.
Perfect. Okay, so I told my mama she didn't get it.
That's unsettling.
For you kind of came late into the crush game. I know you mentioned you came out very recently, but were there any dating norms or cultures that you kind of grew up with that you believe influence the timeline of you coming out and coming into your own romantic desires?
I wouldn't say, hmm, I wouldn't say that like, 'cause I feel like I'm just different. Everyone else in my like family is like straight. Like I'm like the only, well, I was like the first like out person in my family. So it's like a little different. But however, like dating, like seeing my mom date, it's she's I would say a very hopeless romantic herself. Uh,
Hmm.
she's the type of, I mean, that's for my mom. God, you asked the question, not me. And
I asked. Tell mama, blame it on Joy.
you asked this. But my mom's the type of person, if we like each other for 2 weeks, maybe we could get married. Maybe we should elope.
And I
Life
admire the
is short.
bravery.
Right. That's bravery. But life is short. And it's
That
kind of like that kind of, headspace that like life is short. Why not be hopeless? You have no hope in the future, I guess, sometimes. So why not just be
that
down bad?
Yeah, what you're bringing up is very different and kind of foreign to me. I think a lot
Mhm.
of like the Nigerian immigrant kids grew
Oh,
up with either two parents or
mhm.
parents who like weren't dating or not open to talking about romance. So they're
Right,
not out here, thumbing through the yearbook saying, "Oh, this was, I liked him so much
right.
and he was so cute." They're not doing that. Nigerians are
Wait, really?
horrible, really, not record.
Your
They're
mama,
not record keepers.
your mama never showed you like her old thing on Facebook?
No, no.
My mama had a white one. She had a white one, and she had a couple. She was like, "Yeah, he got money now." And I'm looking at her like, "Damn, you,
Come on, come on,
what you
Harlem
talking about?"
Globetrotters. That's see, but they just don't. They don't open up about that. Dads, I mean, even worse, right?
Mm,
And it's just this sort of like repressive. You only need to worry about who you're with or who you're currently like
mm,
married to. There's only one type of way to be in relationship type of culture. A lot of that influenced by Christianity, but even more so influenced by just like African and Nigerian culture. There's not
mm,
an exchange or a conversation between parents and children about romance, dating, love. It's more so duty, obligation, the state of marriage,
mm,
sanctimonious Christian marriage, right? So it's just interesting. And not all Nigerians are Christian, some are Muslim, but even so, they're talking about, really conservative cultures and parents just not sharing that with their kids. So when you say for the first time, like, okay, for the first time me hearing it, yeah, I was really influenced by how my mom dated. I was like,
mhm.
oh, well, I never thought about that angle. That's crazy.
Right.
And did you grow up here in the United States?
Yeah, Georgia, North Carolina. I moved around a lot growing up.
Okay. What are the cultures like in the South for dating? Because, like in California, you know what I mean? It's just like he's got like the puka shell necklace that you and then he like gives it to you. You're like, oh my God. And he like gives you your jersey like during games. Like, there's,
The
there's
what?
like no, it's like, it's very like, he's like, oh, you want to go to In-N-Out? Like, it's a very chill, lax, kind of like sunny, beachy dating culture. Like, that's how we like fall in love, even
Oh,
if
that's good.
you're in the suburbs. Absolutely. So, what's it like in the South?
So I feel like I guess maybe not like that. It's a Pucha necklace.
Those little like white necklaces that it's like ding 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 ding, 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 around your neck.
The gay boys had those mostly in the South.
Yeah, okay. There we go.
But I didn't really date too much. And when I did see some dating, it always, you know, oh my God, I'm like thinking in high school, like we used to do the prom things. Did you ever do those? Like
Prom
the
what?
like you bring prom posters to the cafeteria and like
Oh
your
yeah,
prom
promposals. I
yeah.
was so obsessed with love and dating in high school that I opened up a quote unquote business. I wasn't charging anybody. I opened up a business where I put on an all black suit, black jacket, shirt, and slacks and dress shoes. I put on a black headset and I wore a name tag that was like promposal organizer or whatever. And I I was so entrepreneurial.
That
Again,
is
not
so
charging.
amazing.
And I went around and I was helping people with their proposals. So they would be like, yeah, I want to ask, Amanda at lunchtime. So I'm like, all right. And, I would let them know I was kind of producing the whole thing. I'd be like, okay, here's where you can get your poster. Here's where you can get this,
Did
that.
you get paid?
And No, and that's where perhaps the entrepreneurial spirit wasn't fully awoken yet. But this
Okay.
was a way, I think, for me to just be connected to love, connected to romance. Like, I didn't care. I think I realized growing up in an Asian neighborhood, I was not going to be the primary target of people's romantic affections, if
Really?
not any type of target of people's romantic. Yeah. So when you're towering above people in a sense of like physical awkwardness, difference, and then having a really, I don't know, just a really different like outlook that you know is not going to be shared, you kind
Mm-hmm.
of find your peace. So I settled romantically, especially up until like junior year. That was the first time I was ever asked out. I settled for being the bro, being the friend, being the funny one, and being the helpful one. And that helped me avoid the sort of disappointment that I felt around not being included in these like romantic engagements like dances and promposals.
Damn girl, I'm still settling.
That's unsettling.
Yeah. When it comes out and you hear it, you're like, ugh. No, but it's okay. It's again, I had a lot of fun doing it. I found my role, I knew it, and I played it. But for
Period.
you, I hear that like, you know, growing up, it was like a little different. So for you, would you say that most of what you've known is a state of singleness?
For me personally or everyone else?
For you?
Yeah, I feel like I'm always the sick one. I've seen friends get in relationships, get pregnant, get married, get divorced, all these different seasons of relationships. And I'm still, 2 week talking stages and,
The 2 week talking stage.
they're fun. I don't know.
Can we let's dig into singleness, okay?
Okay, period.
I'd been dating online, so my breakup was in 2020.
Oh, how long were you together for?
7 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it when it ended and it was mutual, we literally both realized it in the same phone conversation at the same time. Like we didn't even break up in person. Yeah. But when we realized it was like, cool, I'm now catapulted into needing to look for a partner for the first time in my adult life. And like we had a type of situation to where, college is like, yeah, I'm okay if you like, go out with other people, you like do what you need to do, have fun, like be a kid. But in the sense of like actually looking for a long-term romantic partner, it was just him. So that switch was turned off in my brain. And to turn it back on and be like, oh, okay, cool. Now I'm like in the pools and I'm online dating. Singleness, first I was really
It ain't fun.
you said it's not fun?
It ain't fun. Like it's like
At first, it was like dang. So that person that I always call, like I think I'm a really involved partner. I'm not codependent in a negative way, but I'm an involved partner. Like I want to know what you're, doing. I want to know what you ate for breakfast. I want to share with you about my wins, about the thing that scared me, so to not have that kind of like reflex anymore of like, oh, okay, I can pick up the phone and call you or like message you or text you and that be your person. Because with singleness, people love to say, oh, this bothers me. People love to say, lean on your friends, platonic love and group love and orgy love and all the type of love. I'm like, like you can't, there's girls and you have your goyles and you have your gays and there's people that you can call, but it's not that one person that, especially for like the monogamy obsessed of us, it's not that one person that you can just like bother, harass. Like I know I'm never going to be a true bother to you. Do you know what I mean? I know I'm never going to
also, sorry to cut you off.
No, please. No,
I was going to say, and also, the one person that's going to scratch that edge. The friends can't scratch that edge.
And can. And it's just so that's why to me it's like frustrating to hear this like, well, lean on your friend. They're not scratchers. we tried it. It didn't work. They're not my scratchers. So yeah, that's a whole nother episode. But it's just, it's frustrating to like be thrown into that pool. Then though, singleness for me became an exciting opportunity because I was like, oh my God, I can do anything. I can be anything. I can be in anything and create any sort of union that I'm looking for. And so some people really resent this practice, but like I love looking at like inspirational images of Black love and relationships online. I love watching the videos and the interviews like you have on Hopeless Romantic Society, and just laughing and dreaming and journaling and making audio notes and just creating an entire kind of like collaging and artistic practice. I'm going to go deep into vision boarding Black love in another episode of the show, but I created vision boards where I was like, this is what I want my next relationship and future relationships, if there are supposed to be multiple, this is what I want them to look like. And it just energized me and inspired me. So I don't know. Do you feel when you're single that it's more of an opportunity to create, or are you feeling kind of the burden of the isolation?
I don't. Oh God, no. Oh God, that's a big question. And I only say this because like I guess like I don't necessarily be going around listening to Sierra's prayer, if you get what I'm saying.
No,
And maybe
right.
I think with me, singleness is almost like a safety net. Almost. I'll be honest about that. Like it is a little. I'm learning, especially as I talk to people on the street, and I'm like getting to know people, or I talk to people that I've talked to, like, and I film with them, and I just filmed with somebody that I like, used to talk to or something. Like I'm learning how closed off I can be for people, and like how I don't ever want to ever like cross the line. So in a way, I know. Okay, not too much. Not too much. Don't do me.
Singleness. No, the reason I'm just sitting here in shock and awe. Singleness as a safety net. Because I'm single, I can emotionally be closed off. I don't need to interact with you. I don't need to connect to whatever, some people's auras are just real strong and disruptive. I don't need to connect my aura to yours. I can make my way home. Nobody's waiting for me.
Right.
Oh,
It
single
feels
as
good.
safety.
It do feel good, but then if you come down to New Year's Eve and they be kissing at 12 o'clock, you just waiting, scrolling on your feed. It's almost
Living in your
like
own world. Didn't understand that
literally.
anything can happen. Ding, 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 ding.
Yep.
It's like when Apple Music like listeners see when they post their Spotify rap, you're like, damn, I need to get Spotify next year. I need to get cuffed. Watching Kiss on New Year's, and New Year's come by, and like, damn, I actually forgot to get the subscription.
And this has been an ad for Spotify. Just kidding.
No, I know what you mean. It's that there is a feeling though of being left out. And so to me, a romantic is somebody who can dream. A romantic is somebody who can like put pen to paper and create something out of what is not there. We could get real biblical with it. There's something about, eyes have not seen and ears have not heard, making ways out of no ways. But to me, that's literally what like a romantic is. And I think that that's a superpower, supermodel. I do think that romance and hopeless romance can be superpower, because in this world where you have everybody's trying to bag on you, rag on you, everyone's trying to tell you the stories of their own singleness and make it seem like it's never ending. They'll never come out of it. I think there's a good hopeless and there's a bad hopeless, and that the dating pool, when people say it has pee in it and it has piss in it, the piss is actually the people who are convinced that nothing good is ever going to happen to them or to anybody that they know or anybody else because of the condition of the streets. And they're just committed to this sort of negative nightmare. They're committed to dating as a nightmare instead of dating as an opportunity. And they just want to open their mouths and tell everybody how hopeless it is, when in fact, the right kind of hopelessness, or the type of hopelessness that's going to mobilize us, is if we go, I don't care what you say. I don't care what the statistics are. I don't care what the status of the pool is. I'm going to get mine.
Period. Well, I feel like I caught a couple strays.
And that's okay.
And that's unsettling. On period.
And that's very unsettling. But it's like, yeah, like we can take the pee out with chlorine.
Right. So I guess you're the
with
chlorine.
hopeless. I think you're the chlorine, funny enough. maybe you don't see yourself as the chlorine.
Say more.
But I
Okay.
think hopeless romance. Okay, this is what I think. JC. You're elevating stories of people, even when they're down bad. I think those are the most popular, if I'm not mistaken, because that's what I see a lot. But you're elevating stories of people who really believe that healthy partnership is possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that they believe this because when they tell stories of unhealthy behaviors or actions or affections or partnership, they show shame. They show regret. They show, ooh, well, that was me then, but I'm moving on now. And so you really actually have like a league of like romantic superheroes that you're showcasing and that you're inspiring. And the people in the comments, like, yeah, some of them are commiserating. I think I get the same thing in the at Joy Ofodu comments too. It's people being like, oh, yes, this is my experience. When will they ever learn, girl? When is it going to change? But it's like the overtone of it all is we believe that healthy is possible and we know what healthy looks like.
Right.
And the next step that I need from your audience, from my audience, from all the audiences is, and I can get it. And I'm going to get it. And I can create it. And it's instead of listening to these naysayers and these men should this and women should this. And is it okay, women, would you tolerate a man who's $30 plate if your baby mama boy, your son is gay? Would you? I'm like, nope. we've gone too far in the inquiry, right? So to me, that's, I think, what's going to help us move forward. Okay, no, please.
No, I think that's beautiful.
No, it's
what you said. That's really beautiful, and that's kind of like when I say like I'm not like looking for a man, I'm not necessarily, but I think what I'm really trying to do is like learn how to slowly open myself up and make myself more comfortable and like make myself less nervous. So when you put it like that, it does actually make a lot of sense because when I talk to these people, like, they do be talking about their down badness and how they want more, and the conversations that we have can be very beautiful, which I feel like everything you said is like spot on. So I'm glad that you kind of like gave me that little shift.
And I love it. Come on.
I love that.
Speaking of shift,
dating unsettled.
It's time for a mented moment. This is where we interrupt the show for some beautiful reflection. So center your thoughts for just one moment and ask yourself, am I dating in the way that's best for me? Am I dating in the way that's best for me? And 2, who allowed me to look this good? Who allowed me to look this good? When I want natural soft glam that's made for my skin tone, I choose Mented Cosmetics because, hello, Mented is Black owned and makes me feel effortlessly gorgeous. If this is your first time shopping, you can have more Mented moments by using my code JOYOFODU for 15% off. Treat yourself to beautiful Black owned skincare products that feel good and look even better. MentedCosmetics.com with the code JOYOFODU.
Dating unsettled.
Thanks for tolerating that wonderful commercial break, Jahad. I be trying, and I love Mented. I'm a real Mented girl. I put them into the show. They didn't beg or ask to be put into the show because I was just like, a lot of us are buying crap from people who don't care about us, and Mented is Black owned and does care about us and builds for us. So, and the products are just good. There's a Black owned product that everybody hawks that you're like, oh. And then you like gift it.
No.
No, just like there are a couple. There's not one, but like that sort of Black owned product that you're like, yeah, support Black business. But then you're like, I just wish it wasn't packaged this way. Or I wish, it actually lasted longer. I wish it was FDA approved. we all have those products.
Shade.
It's very unsettling. Am I shady? It's comedy. But no, in all reality, love Mented. I'm a Mented girl down. I want to pivot back to the interview as we wrap here and ask you, what is the most romantic thing that somebody has done for you? Sprinkle a little positivity into our shade, a little sunlight.
Okay, so I've done a few pretty romantic things. I went on a date. He did make me upset at first because he was late.
Oh, how late?
I'm not talking 20 minutes late, 30 minutes late. I'm talking like 40 minutes late ish. And
Oh.
it was
Can I
irritating.
ask why you stayed? Can I ask why you stayed? Like, were you getting updates that's like, I'm on the way, I'm almost there, I'm almost there?
That, and I was like interviewing at the time. So we were going to like hang out after I was interviewing. So I'm like interviewing and chilling, talking to people, interviewing, laying down, and he comes finally. I was like I was a little cold. Like, yeah, short. How my day going? It's
Mm-hmm.
cool. But
I'm fine. You're 40 minutes late. Yeah.
period. I was a little upset. However, it did turn into one of those dates that like kept going
Mm-hmm.
all until like one spot to the next spot to the next spot to the next spot, making excuses type beat.
Oh, I
Um,
love that.
and we had like he just randomly was like, "Oh, do you want to like go get massages?" And I was like, "Do you know somewhere over here?" And we got a couple of massage.
On
I'm
the
also
first date.
it was like our second,
Okay, okay. Oh my God.
yeah. And I don't really like people touching me like that, but
Mm.
I was never comfortable to go get a massage before, so this is my first one. So we went
Huh.
hour long. It was amazing. They had like good little music, ambiance in the background. It was very nice. And then we got some dinner. We was
Mm.
riding around the park,
Yes.
and we rode under this bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge, and there's a piano there.
Wait, you're
And
bike riding? So you went from massages to dinner to bike riding underneath the Brooklyn Bridge and you pass a piano. Okay,
randomly,
cool. So we're in a movie. Got it. Some
right,
some of God's children are blessed. Got it.
right. And then he starts like, "Oh, I know how to play the piano." I'm
Oh, of
like,
course you do.
"No, you don't know how to play the piano. You don't know
Oh
how
my
to play the piano."
God.
And I'm trying. Let me pull up the what the piano looked like. Number one, which is
I love that you have a
the
picture of
more
the piano.
crazy. Well, it was. I'll show you. It's like one of the very first posts on like our Instagram. Hold on,
Okay, so
but
for those listening, JC is currently pulling up a photo of the piano that he and his date rode by in Central Park.
it was like. Can you see this well?
It's kind of like blurry for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure when everything renders, you can send it to me. Just send it to me
Period.
and we'll like put it up. Yeah, okay, love.
But the piano had like all these hearts on it, and it says
I see
"Love
these
Note,"
lights.
literally.
Oh.
And he started. I think he started playing like John Legend, and I
He starts
started
playing that
singing.
dun, dun, what you then dun, dun, your
That
smart
one.
mouth. Yeah, not
And
me.
I started
How did I know that was a
singing.
song?
I
Oh, that's
started
so
singing. Wow. Yeah.
beautiful.
That was really
Okay.
romantic.
That's a really romantic date. And you know what's crazy about that and why I believe in a little bit of like unsettling rule breaking is this person was 40 minutes late, which is truly inexcusable on a
Hmm.
date, but hopefully they didn't try to make excuses. And most people would tell you, run for the hills. You should have been gone by minute 15 or 20 or whatever the thing is, because that's like quote unquote the rule. But had you done that their way, would have missed out on all these like wonderful dates within a date that happened your way, which ended up
Right.
being a beautiful memory. I just even see your face now, just like,
It was good.
ah,
It was good.
that's so
But
nice. I love that.
men ain't shit. He still shouldn't have been late. And
Oh, per.
I accepted those romantic feelings for my real man when I learned how to
Oh,
accept.
I, oh, okay. Yeah. Wait. So, are you like currently in a relationship?
No, I'm not in a
Is
relationship. I'm
that?
talking about like
Uh,
my man that like don't exist yet.
oh, my man, and your man too. His man, their man. Yeah, the one that's meant for you. Okay.
Right. And I'm going to
Yeah.
be
You
able
just keep him satisfied.
to see. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you want one that plays piano and doesn't show up 40 minutes late. You can have both. I don't know why people say that you can't. Yeah, you can have both. I love
Yeah.
that. Okay. Do you believe in monogamy?
I actually do believe in monogamy, but I do believe in, polyamory too. I feel like I'm open, pretty open.
Hmm, that's That's interesting. And do you believe in getting into relationships knowing that they're not the relationship? They're not the my man relationship. Because I think there was a time when I started dating where I was 100% looking for my man. I was like, I want my next man. That's who I'm interested in dating. If you're not him, get from around me. And then I kind of transitioned into like, well, okay, like keeping it casual, just getting to know different people. Then I was like, what if I got into a relationship that wasn't parasitic, that was mutually beneficial, where I was with someone that I knew wouldn't be or isn't my man, but just was like my man for right now. And I'm his girl for right now. And what does that look like? And how do you socialize that with friends? And I just couldn't really figure out that formula. So nothing like that ever manifested. But at a time I became open to that too. And then I found my man who's my man who's my man. And I was like, oh yeah, no, never mind. But do you think there's room for that kind of middle ground of like, hey, let's commit to each other, but like not forever?
Is that what we're going to tell each other when it starts?
Like you would tell each other, yeah, because I think you gotta have to be open. Otherwise it's like somebody's lying. So it's kind of this like, look, I really like you. I want to date you and no one else. I'm not really sure, given maybe it's our values or given our plans, or, you want to go live in California. I'm an East Coaster. I'm sure at some point this will no longer work for us, but like for right now, like let's see where this could go, and let's just like have fun.
Well, then we could just kick it then. I mean, we're not committed to nothing if that's how you feel about me personally. I'm sorry. I feel like if that's the case,
And that's
don't waste my
okay.
time, because my man is staring at me and you over here. Like, stop me from getting my man. Like,
But is it a waste of time? Okay. If you got, how about this? If an oracle came and visited you in your sleep, and the oracle says, "Hello, Jahad. I have come bearing a gift from the mountain of whatever." The oracle comes to visit you. This African oracle. We're combining Greek and African mythology because it's a dream. And anyway, they come to you in your sleep and they deliver a message that your man is coming 6 years from now. Okay, It's going to be nobody else in between. Don't worry about it. But 6 years from now, your man is coming. From now till you're 6, if someone's like, "Hey, I'm interested in committing to you," but again, it's just, I'm planning to move out of the state, or I'm blah, 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 blah. Would you kind of stay down with that other person until you're 6 if the oracle came?
Well, you should have told me that, because if the oracle told me that, I got some time. You should have told me that.
I love it. Okay. Then we do have a little bit of room for the middle ground, but for the most part, you're like, I want what's for me.
Right.
And I want it to want me just as much as I want it.
Right.
And I want it to feel romantic, and I want the occasional massages, because otherwise don't touch me. That's what you're looking for.
Period.
I love that. And I think that's entirely possible. That's great. The last thing I want to ask is, what have you learned through sharing others' love stories on Hopeless Romantic Society? Any big lessons coming out?
Well, like I was saying this a little bit earlier, but hold on, give me one second. I was saying this a little bit earlier, but I kind of feel like going on the street and talking with people has allowed me to see how closed up I am, and how I tell myself like how open and I'm ready and I'm open to dating and letting people in. But it's actually shown me how closed off I can be, and how I'm shooting myself in the foot when it comes to love. Like, I'm curving myself oftentimes. And that was kind of shocking to me, because I'm over here thinking I'm over here hot plate tenderoni waiting, to be served. But I'm always telling people you can't touch it. And I took it easy.
Working against your own interests, though.
Right. And I'm kind of learning how to like where it's coming from, number one, and like unweave it and be open to just receive, being perceived in general, or like, receiving love, romanticism, all kinds of things. But I've seen how like I've been really closed off, and I'm really ready to open up. Like these people open up and share, these stories on the street, and like I'm really down that thing. So I don't even know if I could like say or open up like with a random stranger.
I love that. You are opening yourself up to being perceived. That's beautiful.
Dating Unsettled.
I love that too.
All right. As we wrap up, let's hear a few words from the Hall of Fame. You get to hear directly from the men that I dated. What was their experience? And this one, he did not leave me a voice note. He left me a written review. So just for verification purposes, I'm gonna flash it. Okay, yep, you see it. Great. I didn't write this. He did. And he texted it to me. So I'm going to read it. Okay. He said, when we were dating, I enjoyed it. I liked our conversations, your ambition, and your quirks. When we met, it was a very difficult time for me personally, and with the craziness of the pandemic too. But I was willing to take a 2-hour train trip to see you because you gave me a lot of joy. LOL.
Aww.
I was a bit disappointed you chose to end things, especially with how it was done, as I really was liking you. If anything, it left me with questions. I think you may had certain expectations and outcomes you wanted, which is fine. In all, I think that dating has shifted to the point where it's more result focused. But I think the process and the things that go into them is what makes lasting happy relationships.
So
Dating Unsettled.
he missed you.
Uh-oh. I lost you. Hold on. Why can't I hear you?
You can't hear me?
Okay, Unsettlers. Can you hear me, JC? Okay, then we go round this out somehow.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah. So we have that.
So he misses you.
Maybe. But
You.
that's how you read it to me. I actually read this as I didn't, first of all, this is the first time I'm like hearing this, which is like ask and you shall receive. I didn't realize the like upset part with like how things ended. And I also actually kind of hear some judgment in here.
Yeah, so
of like, okay, what happened? And in our back end unsettler communities, we'll go deep and deep and deep. But generally what happened with the situation is, yes, the 2-hour train ride is like true. I don't know why I thought it was an hour, 2 hours. I'm like, oh, it was far. I met someone on an app who lived further from me and was like, oh yeah, this person's like cute, cool. Like, let's like link up. We went on, I think, a total of 2 dates in person with like FaceTimes, calls, and texts in between. So it actually wasn't super heavy in terms of like physical meetups, but there was a lot of conversation. And I think it was when we were both students or studying. Like I was in grad school. I think this person was studying too. So there was like a lot going on. And I think when they reference like, oh, it was a crazy time with the craziness of the pandemic, like, yeah, like, so, and I wasn't dating exclusively. And this person knew. So hearing to me like disappointed with how things ended, that actually opens up a chasm in my brain where I'm like, I think I thought it was less not serious. I think I thought it was less aligned than they thought it could be. I think I thought it was more fun for them and fun for me to kind of meet and talk rather than we could actually enter a relationship. And the reason is there are like some core value things that were discussed. including like I mentioned I really wanted to have kids. I wanted to be with somebody who wanted to have kids. And they shared with me that like, they were unsure if they ever wanted to have kids, but at this kind of current time leaning, no. I shared that I was like drug free. This person was not drug free. So it's just like, there are some key things that I'm like, maybe I made assumptions and that is totally my bad. But I made assumptions that because I shared those things and was very clear about like what works for me and what doesn't, and what I'm looking for, I think I assumed that that person made the check mark in their head of like, okay, cool, then I'm not for her, but like, we're just having fun. So it honestly, me looking back at it, I'm like, maybe there was a huge miscommunication. And the way I ended it is like, I probably did text instead of
What,
call.
have y'all like, have y'all ever like done the deed?
No.
Period. So
Not with, no. But does that necessitate a call? Here's my thing. Calling versus texting. I don't know. I struggled with it because I thought, well, guys would always text me or not text me at all. So I was kind of like, well, I'm going to do the notification, but whether it needs to be a phone call, I need to go physically see you. If we've kind of been talking for a few months and we don't have any other mutual friends, I'm not going to run into this person again. I just want to let them know. I don't want to put them. Here's how I was thinking of it. Whenever I end something via text, I'm like, I don't want to put this other person through the pain or demand of needing to respond to me live on the phone. Because if they did that to me, I'd be like, I'm going through all my emotions. I don't want to share that with you, not on FaceTime, not on the phone. So I kind of thought it was like a graceful thing to do, but I guess I'm hearing feedback and it's not the first time that it's like, okay, the way, texting is like,
multiple.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would say like this, like, maybe that's like your, I guess, quote unquote, love language or breakup language. You know how you need to bring things to other people. It's like how you need to bring it to them in their language and how they best want to receive it. But like, also though, you wasn't married to this man and you wouldn't have his babies. Do you know how many people that I talk to, you go on a couple of dates and then we just stop talking?
yeah.
Do you know how many dollars I would have? I would have $100.
Right. So to me, words of affirmation is my primary love language. So a word of, what's the opposite of affirmation? Deformation?
Like, come on.
To me, the words of deformation are valuable and respectful. I am sorry if this person received it, obviously like negatively or that they were disappointed. To me, though, it's saying like you may have had certain outcomes that you wanted and it's results oriented. I don't want to take that a certain way. It's like, I mean, yeah. And that's what I think I mean about being negative or, looking down upon women in pursuit of romance and in pursuit of a romantic relationship. They're saying that the process makes it happy. To me, the process makes it happy if we're values aligned and we want the same thing and we're going to the same place. A process of struggling through something with somebody I'm not going to end up in relationship with is not a process that I need to, want to, or should endure. So yeah, I guess I am results oriented. There are certain outcomes that I wanted. There's certain outcomes that I got. But I am sorry if I didn't communicate it in the best way.
Right. And maybe that's just it. Like, you're valid to feel however you want and like not open yourself up or give that, text like, hey, I don't think this is right. Like, you're right for doing that and that's valid. It always is the communication aspect part about it. But how you felt, I mean, if you result in this shit, that's not your problem.
There wasn't a result there, but I wish this person the best. I truly do. They were very cool to hang out with. They just weren't my person. And I do believe that love, whether you want it results oriented or you want it process oriented, I believe it's there for everybody.
Dating Unsettled.
Thank you for listening, Unsettlers. Please follow Dating Unsettled for weekly episodes wherever podcasts are found so you don't miss an episode of your new favorite show. Follow Hopeless Romantic Society on platforms as well. DM me your dating stories on Instagram at Dating Unsettled. I want to know how it's going for you. See you next week.
Dating Unsettled.